Well, there's a lot of great opportunities to use your tripod with the self-timer. You don't have to have a tripod quite as extensive as this, but it comes in handy to have one when you're going to be doing, obviously, pictures of yourself, but also in other instances where you may need a long exposure. For example, we talked about shooting at the aquarium. So you've turned your flash off, but it's low light. So you need the shutter to be open longer in order to capture the image. So now you need to stabilize your camera with the tripod. And another way to avoid what they call camera shake is by using the self-timer. So because you've pressed the button, set your focus, and released it, the self-timer goes off and it doesn't move the camera around at all. That can be used for all kinds of longer exposure tricks, like shooting, they call it light painting. Like you could leave the shutter open and use your flashlight to paint in front of it, or different things like that. So another time is any time that you don't want there to be camera shake. And most cameras give you a little bit of a warning. Oh, this is going to be a time where you might get blurred images because your camera's shaking. So you can just use the self-timer. And my self-timer, it doesn't have to be a 20-second or 10-second. This one has the option of 2 seconds. So if it's something like that where you don't need to run into the picture, you can just set it on the 2-second self-timer. Another time that you might need to stabilize your camera with a tripod and use the self-timer is when you're really zoomed in. And that can even be in movie mode on these type of cameras. But when you move in a lot, any little tiny bit of movement really affects what's going on with the camera. So by using the self-timer, again, the shutter goes off without any camera movement at all. There's some other great features with the self-timer. If you're doing a group shot and say you've got your 2-year-old in it or whatever, a lot of these cameras, when they're on self-timer, they have a flashing light that helps keep a child's attention. They may also beep. Mine, you can go online and get other different sounds for your camera. So for example, I think I've got one where you've got a chicken clucking or a werewolf howling, and that can help everyone, including the children, look at the camera. Plus, there's usually a blinking light. So it helps people know when you're going to take a picture, and then you're less likely to get them blinking during the picture. So the self-timer can also be a lot of fun to do your own little self-portraits. So make sure you use that feature. It's a lot of fun, and it can really help you out.